Hey there, I'm Dan Pontifrac, and this is my Leading Remote Team series where I'm talking about 10 specific actions for leaders to take to help them become better remote leaders. In this episode, it's how to effectively communicate with remote-based teams. And I'm reminded of the George Bernard Shaw quote once, "The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Indeed, even more so when you and your team are now working from home." So here are kind of my top 8 or so effective leadership communication techniques. Some of these are pretty transferable to face-to-face, working from the office setting, but I still think these have a definitive stance for you to consider as you are contemplating, or in fact probably already working from home with your team. First of all, don't beat around the bush, right? When we looked at another episode about the assertiveness and cooperation curve, how assertive and clear you are in terms of where things stand, where things are going, in terms of your online and your written communication, is going to be critical in this time of need. Employees need you to be clear, to be concise, to be succinct, but you also need to be kind. So in your communication style, remember those bits. And I love this one for me, I guess, though that's weird. Content isn't king, but context is king. And really what I mean by that is sort of connecting the dots between the goals, the team's priorities, your objectives, right? Making it all make sense, even more so now, because again, you're not going to have those face-to-face collisions. You're not going to be able to remind people as they're walking past your desk or in the elevator or wherever. These are critical times when you are asynchronous. That means you don't have the live exchanges in your written communication in particular to be deliberate with the context in connecting dots, the reinforcing of why and what you're doing and for what purpose. Then, of course, I think there's an informal and social opportunity here for you as a leader in your communication style to send random texts and emails and DMs and IMs and whatever it is that you're using from an asynchronous perspective. Those random acts of kindness, of feedback, of curiosity, of concern, it basically says, "I'm here for you." And when the employee receives that out of the blue, particularly given he or she may not have seen you for a while, gosh, is that going to feel good. Now don't overdo it, obviously, but just once in a while, just reach out and kind of send something out. Maybe it's a joke, maybe it's consideration, whatever, maybe it's feedback, maybe it's just, "Hey, how you doing?" That's going to go a long way with your credibility. Now, we've talked in a couple episodes about this. Don't let, as much as you're sending an IM, a DM, and an email, whatever, don't forget to use the phone. And when you use web meeting-based technology, put the webcam on. So it's okay to sort of dial someone up, and use the thing that used to be a phone, which is now essentially a walking computer in your pocket, and pull that thing out. And use the number that you have, and "Hey, Daryl, just thinking about you. How's it going?" Right? "Yeah, it's Dan. Yeah, really. I know it's the phone. Yeah, that's weird." It's okay. And then again, when you're using one-on-one meetings or team meetings, put the webcams on. People need to see you. They need to see you. So get that done. Now, a couple others. You can get a little too wordy, a little too verbose, right? When you're working from home because you're not seeing people. So you think you need to actually say more than what you actually should. So just be careful. Find the right appropriateness of volume in terms of how many words you're using, how much text there is. Don't write books and books of emails and texts. It's just, people are like, "Oh, whatevs," or I should say this, whatevs. Don't do it. So just look for a happy medium, right? To be succinct and concise and explicit, but also not boring people to tears where they're not going to read anything that you've said. Also, in terms of how you lead and in remote terms, don't dumb it down. Don't be that leader who thinks that your team isn't smart and professional and can take it. You've got to be kind of firm. You've got to be transparent, and you've got to be timely with those communications. Because if people are working from home and sort of waiting, is he ever going to do anything? They're going to question your credibility. So get in front of it and make sure as well that you're succinct and, again, it's not dumbed down. Don't just use email. Please or don't just text people. Mix up your methods, right? Again, from synchronous virtual meetings or synchronous with the phone conversations, and then the asynchronous bits like the emails and the texts. Use the community discussion forums that I hope you've set up. Use the DMs in the comments section of the blogs or the microblogging, the things that hopefully you have already set up in terms of communicating. Those are going to be important for you as well. And then lastly, for me, the art of better communication is stopping to check in on the process of communication itself. So ask your team, hey, how's it going? How is the communication going from me? How's our communication going? Should we change anything? Is there too much? Is there not enough? When it's the unknown, when you're not asking the question, how are we doing with our communication, you can assume that there's going to be people that are ticked off because it's not working for them. Now, yes, you should establish team norms up front and understanding people's needs for how communication should occur. Assuming you've done that, you still need to check in. The last bit here is what I call PEG. Pause, examine, and go. So this means you're not just flying off the handle when things go wrong, or you're not just sending out 30 million emails and expecting responses right away. You're pausing. You examine what's needed, and you take action. You go. Now, the flip side is you can't just hide back at your home office and not react and not engage and not say anything. But it's this balance of the pausing, the reflection, examination, of course, and the going. Now, this pays homage to one of my books called Open to Think, where I talk about dream, decide, do. This is where this PEG actually emanated from that work. So it's kind of like that. Dream, decide, do. In the case of communication, you pause, you examine what it is you're going to say, and then you go and you make it happen. That's another episode of my Leading Remote Teams Toolkit. I'm Dan Pontefract. Thanks for watching.